So first session we did. First, I'll just be like, hey, the thing with using your pick. What we mostly focused on was the wider range of motion that you need. If I'm just sitting here going like, making it all the way up to here and all the way down to here. So you can come up with like visual landmarks on your own instrument, but mostly just swing away and think drum, not harp, like we were talking about. Like otherwise, if we just line the pick up here, it sounds like, which probably is why I was using your hand, because that sounds better. Anyway, like we talked about, if you do this, then you hit all the strings with the same amount of attack. So that's not a little bit, no big deal. If you're doing something where you go like bass strum, it's going to be like a calculated thing, and then a wind up, and then a strum. Cool. And so find like, and what we talked about for learning strumming patterns, the optimal order I'd like you to do this in is like little calculated, boring segments where you do it like twice total, just like really consciously focus on what you're doing to memorize the dance steps headspace, and just be like, okay, like not pretend the concept rhythm doesn't exist, just do it a few times. When that gets easy, go for one good attempt in rhythm. When that gets easy, go for two good attempts. That'll probably just be 2 or 3 attempts, then start looping it. So like, that's what we talked about during the lesson session was memorization headspace, learn the dance steps, and then playing headspace. Now it's a feel thing, I'm guessing, and not prematurely moving on to the other, which is totally intuitive on guitar to just like play the whole thing or whatever. So yeah, break stuff into little sections, finish as you go. Let's talk about finger style, just technique stuff, and then I'll do a little, after 5 minutes we started talking about your song or something like that. What we talked about was having your thumb extended down the string parallel to it. What you're doing is what everybody does at first. And I'm sure I have like 600 videos, almost literally probably, of me saying the same thing to people. We set up like this where we can see our fingers, but what we're going to do is end up in this position where you can't really see your fingers, but they're more curled up, which allows us to make more economical movements rather than when our fingers are straight. It's like up, up, up with everything we talked about, associating picks with away from the instrument as well as up. So the thing with the old position was when you get onto like you have to like get your thumb out of the way of your first finger and vice versa. So something I said during the session was it might seem like you're always going to play your old songs with your old technique, and then new stuff you're going to be doing this way, and that's just cool because you all fully internalized how to do it the other way. Mm-hmm. But try to find something to play that's like regular, like it can be really boring. Ideally, it would be really boring so that you can really focus on staying in that position. We ran out of time to actually give you a song to work on, but so if you could like just sit on a G chord and do stuff where you move these fingers around, and we were talking about getting good at just going alternate bass. Alright, awesome. So then, talking about Wolf, the most constructive thing we did was talk about, for starters, doing the strumming fast section more than once, either just the first time it came, or excuse me, either just the second time or both times, just to give somebody something more to hang on to. And you could try incorporating the picking technique there, but I suggest the order of operations be boring, learn how to strum, and then try to do that. Even if it would be more fun to try to do it within the context of playing the song. Cool, so we wrote a couple fills, and realized first and foremost that this chord you've been playing like that was actually a G minor chord, like this, but missing some notes, and so we're going note, click, and you can get all the way to the first string. So yeah, that just go ahead and throw that in when you're playing your normal version. But other stuff we talked about. So there you go. Other stuff we talked about throwing in was like going inefficient grip because you want to keep this ringing out. Usually that would just be like that. So yeah. 0, 1, 3, 3, 0, and that's when you change to that chord. That was the one thing we tried. Or just do something with those same notes that you like better. And then we talked about a thing where you could start featuring C, like from C chords, the space note C right here, and like the. So yeah, there I did it on the D minor chord, and it will probably behoove you to fret it more like a D minor 7, where this finger's here too. Do you know the chord I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so D minor 7 is just you take your ring finger off from a D minor chord, so it's 2, 1, 1 like that, like an F missing fingers. So if you're instead of just on one string, on 2 strings, first of all that lets you potentially pull off with your ring finger or go to your index, but in this specific context, it'll let you keep the chord hanging out and return. But it's not the biggest deal. But there we go. That was the other thing we thought we'd try to do. Was like, and then you could do something to the, you know, as well. Anything. Just mess around. Your ear's gonna go, okay, what if it went like boom, 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 and just find it. But if we were gonna be like strategically, we're kind of just going like D, these 2 notes right here, and then stuff kind of going up there, so you could just kind of mess around with that. Either way, that's the one constructive thing we talked about that was like do this instead of that. And then, you know, just other stuff like fills is, you know, just like, you know, things where you doesn't matter, but we just kind of focused on the bass line end of it, and specifically as it applies to this song. And I suggest that you start doing this at either the 2nd verse or the 3rd verse. 2nd verse probably is optimal because it's like, oh, I see, more development. Good shit. There you are, man. Maybe learn some super easy cover that you like that's like 3 chords so that you can work on rhythm while you're singing, make it a little more fun. And there you are.